Welcome to Namaste Today, an encouraging way to begin your day. I'm your heartfelt host and the sensei to serious joy, Christopher Witecki. And this audio blogcast is for Friday. Thank goddess it's Friday. Friday, May 26, 2017. Welcome back, my friend and earthly neighbor. Namaste. After an electric and jittery week, I'm happy to report this weekend will be cloudy, pensive, introverted, and likely eventless. In your zodiac weather, I'll talk about the planets and how the universe is pulling you inward. And speaking of the weekend, for today's tea time topic, I thought I'd bring up what this weekend's focus is, your soul philosophy. But first, let's take a look at today's moods and your zodiac weather. This zodiac weather is for Friday, May 26, 2017. And my global forecast for planet Gaia is sunny and clear today. Step 5 rules the day. That's the grand step number of Gemini, step 5. And the moon in Gemini makes us question even further. Let's take a look at the planets. I don't know about you, my friends and earthly neighbor, but I had a very jittery week. These first steps of Gemini created a lot of anxiety, a lot of restlessness, and sometimes sleeplessness. It was not fun. But after the new moon yesterday, I found there was a breakthrough and things calmed down. I'm happy to report that it looks like things will remain calm through the weekend. Now, as we wake up today, step 5 rules the day. Step 5 is the magic number of Gemini. Gemini is step 5. And so when you come to a 5-5, or when you're in your own number, this is the time when you actually program a fundamental step. So today you are programming or getting your foot on some sort of major thought, likely a conclusion in the last 24 hours. That conclusion likely is that you do not belong somewhere in life, and that's for sure. But where do you belong? Well, there lies the question, my friend. As the moon continues up through Gemini and crossing Mars later on tonight, you're emotionally going to be exploring a lot of what-ifs, probably opening a lot of questions. And just so you know, later tonight when the moon crosses Mars, there is definitely a chance of temper tantrums or arguments with someone. If you go out, you definitely want to be careful. But the question on the mind, probably, since we know where we don't belong, is an obvious question. Now what? So I think a lot of us are going to be processing what comes next and where we should be thinking next. And likely, you're going to be thinking and coming to some sort of conclusion about a level of thinking you belong on, a level of life you belong on. And looking to the weekend, it looks like this weekend is really all about processing those two questions. Processing what's next, what do I think is next, what should I be thinking about, and then once you find an answer, something you think might be suitable, then you'll go through a deeper exploration on Saturday and Sunday of opening up and feeling if that feels right or not. Now, looking through the weekend, there's a couple of major themes that is going on in the background. Yes, we're thinking about thinking, and we're thinking about what should we think about. But Mercury himself is actually at step 12 Taurus. And so even though we're way up in the sky and having lots of questions, there's a lot of practical down-to-earth business to be done. So on Friday, in your business, you will cross some sort of bridge, some sort of major bridge, and this is going to form part of a yad, which I'll talk about in the tea time. But your mind this weekend will be thinking about the next step to take with manifestation. And it looks like on Saturday, as step 13 rules the day, you'll have some sort of breakthrough, like an aha of what's to happen next with manifestation. You also likely will be searching for some sort of conclusion that brings inner peace. Saturday will feel really good. Step 6 rules the day. So it will be an intellectual Eden sort of day, and it will be a day that frankly is ruled by our emotions. The moon moves into Cancer on Saturday, and we become very emotional and deep and a bit withdrawn. Again, probably feeling through what we feel about certain thoughts. I know that sounds complicated, but when you have a grand idea, you have to go, does it feel right or not? That's basically what will be the theme of the whole weekend. Whatever you come to by Friday night, you'll spend the rest of the weekend going, well, does this feel right or not? Now, producing something is one of the stories, but there's two other major stories that are going on this weekend, formed by a couple of other interesting planet connections. On the one hand, Venus and Pallas Athena are conjuncting today, and actually will be conjuncting through the weekend. It's conjunct at step 20, which means we are opening up now, opening up inside of ourselves to the character we really feel that we are. And because it's conjunct Pallas, we're not only opening up to how we feel, we're getting to the real bottom of things when it comes to our character. So a lot of this thinking and processing through the weekend has to do with who we are. But there's also a major yod that's been going on for a couple of days, formed by Mercury with one leg, where our thoughts are, and Neptune with the other, and they point into Jupiter at retrograde step 13. And I actually talked about this yod during the new moon, because this changing where you belong and don't belong in your thinking was really to get you to understand where you really stand with certain balance and fairness with Jupiter. So the universe is really massaging us spiritually to get us to open up to who we feel we really are, and also to open up to, well, how does that change things in the end? And that, my friend, really is the topic of our tea time. So go steep yourself some tea, and let's have our daily tea time. Hello, my friend, and welcome to our tea time. Today's tea time topic is soul philosophy. And this is kind of just a fun title because I believe this weekend you'll be doing a lot of soul philosophizing, if you will, if that's even a word, about who you are in some very deep areas. I think up until this weekend, the universe has said, okay, let's cut out the thinking of who we are not. Let's cut out the thinking of where we don't belong. And now we have the big question mark, well, where do we belong? What is the breakthrough? What is the epiphany? And so we're diving deep into our soul's philosophy this weekend. And looking at the astrology and the planets, I really think it harbors around Venus conjuncting Pallas Athena at step 20, on Friday anyways. Venus goes ahead then through the weekend. And this yod I was talking about between Mercury and Neptune pointing into Jupiter. I think the universe is asking two important questions with these conjunctions. With Venus conjuncting Pallas Athena, I think the question is, who do you feel you really are? Not think, feel. And I think we're going through this who do we feel we are question, so we know how to think in Gemini. That's what we're trying to do, is put our thinking on the right track. But our mind doesn't have the answer itself. The answer is deeper inside of us, particularly with our feelings, what we feel. So Pallas Athena is asking, who do you feel you are in this life? Really, you can think of it in that big of perspective because it's 20 degrees. Who do you feel you are in this lifetime? What do you feel you're meant to do? What actions do you want to take? Let's get to the bottom of it, Pallas Athena, and make it happen. She is, after all, Jupiter's daughter, which means she's got daddy's credit card. When you get to the bottom of it, you're going to build a palace where there once was just confusion. So I really think we are stirring with the confusion of who are we? Who are we meant to become? Really, what feels right in that idea? And then Venus goes to 21, which means, okay, we open up to what if that is true? What are the possibilities? And then Venus goes to 22, which is, wow, we start to deal with the quantum realization that this may be true. And this is the path of the next few days as Venus climbs away from Athena. Through this weekend, we're feeling, who do we feel we are? And then the other question, I think, that really ties into this is, depending on who you feel you are, how does this change your philosophy, Jupiter, your knowledge, your wisdom, your philosophy, Jupiter? How does this change your philosophy about what's fair? How does this change your philosophy about where you belong? If you feel this, you are this person and meant to be this person in your life, how does it change your philosophy about what is equal, fair, beautiful, and balanced. What is the Eden in your life if this is who you feel you are? Now, these two issues actually oppose each other. Jupiter is in Libra, Venus, Athena is in Aries, and so the universe is really working on us on the part of us of character versus submission, action versus receiving. Literally that line between our refinement and our strength. And I think it is this final little fault line, if you will, internal spiritual fault line that we're going to work through the weekend and work through it just in our mind. Again, this is all theoretical. This is all a soul philosophy weekend. It's all philosophical. But I do believe it's all going to lead to some conclusion, particularly next week when we really start to adopt a new way of thinking. So as a gift, I want to break it down for all 12 signs of my brothers and sisters out there. And you can definitely apply these to your rising sign as well. Your sun sign is the story of who you are. Your rising sign is the story of who you are trying to become. I usually tend to think the R factor comes before the B factor become. So if you have to give a priority, it's your sun sign and then your rising in that order. And then I will go down for all 12 signs and talk about where these questions lie. So for Aries, let's start with our Aries friends. When it comes to who you feel you really are, this applies directly to you. For Aries, they're the purebred of the zodiac, so they represent what humankind is going through. And literally, Aries are asking, who am I in my character? What actions feel right for me? What actions feel wrong for me? What feels right? I'm sure you can do something, but do you feel like doing it? Whole different subject. And when you figure out who you feel you are in this life, who you feel you are next, how does this change your philosophy about relationships? If you're that person, well then what's your philosophy going in relationships? What's your philosophy going in with partnership and fairness? That's Aries. For Taurus, the question is, who do you feel you are spiritually on earth? Who do you feel you are? What is your spiritual mission? What do you feel it is? Because Taurus is getting high in the faith department. And whatever you come up with you feel you are, you're a martyr, you're an example, you're just an everybody, whatever your spiritual mission is, well, depending on that spiritual mission, how does that change your philosophy about the lifestyle you should be living? If you feel you're this person and this is your spiritual deal with the earth, does your lifestyle match up to it? Geminis, who do you feel you are in society? I'm not saying who people see you as. Who do you feel you are? Where do you feel you belong in the world? Where do you feel your role is in the company or among friends? And based on that, how does that change your philosophy about what you go after with your heart or not go after with your heart? How does that change your philosophy about what you chase after if you feel you are that person? Cancer, who do you feel you are in the end, in your whole legacy? How is this gravestone going to be written? Okay? Who do you feel you are in the end? And if that's the case, how does that change your philosophy about how you treat yourself emotionally in the moment? What kind of care giving do you give yourself if that's what your legacy is? The Royal Leos. What do you feel? Who do you feel you are in this lifetime? What is your life purpose? What do you feel you've come to do, learn, teach, or express? What do you really feel it is? Again, we may not see any evidence, but what do you feel it is? And if that's the case, how does that change your attitude? If you feel you are this in your life purpose, how does your attitude and your philosophy about your mental attitude, how should that change? Virgos, who do you feel you're turning into? A lot of people are going to laugh. My mother, or my parent. But who do you feel you're transforming into? Where do you feel you are headed for? You're an analytical Virgo. I'm sure you feel it's heading for something. And if you feel it's heading for that direction, what's your philosophy about self-worth? What's your philosophy about what you deserve and what you have earned and what you should be making as far as salary if you feel you're turning into this particular thing or person? Libras, who do you feel you are in relationships? Who do you feel you really want to be in relationships? I know you're capable of everything, but what do you feel you really want? personally, selfishly, okay? And knowing who you feel you want to be in relationships, how does that change your behavior? How does that change the character that you are? How does that change the philosophy of the character that you are? Scorpios, who do you feel you are at the end of the day in daily life? Are you the coach? Are you the smart one? Are you the quiet one? Who do you feel you are in the room? Who do you feel you are in the daily, day in and day out? What character are you playing? And if that's the case, what is your faith like? What is your belief in yourself? What is your faith in yourself? What does your philosophy change about having faith in yourself if you feel you are this character in daily life or in everyday performance? Sagittarius, who do you feel you really are when you're in love? Who do you feel that in-love person really is? When you're in love with yourself or you're in love with someone else, who do you feel you are? What does Eden really feel like to you? And if that is acknowledged, how does that change your philosophy about what you're trying to do in the world or who you're trying to be in the world? Is it in alignment with who you feel and what you feel Eden really is? Capricorns, who do you feel you really are when you're most at home? Who do you feel you are when you are completely yourself without any kind of pretending? Who do you feel you really are authentically when you are just your pure self? And knowing how you feel at home, how does that change what your career ambition is? Should they necessarily be separate? What is your philosophy on your career, knowing how you want to feel at home and how you want to feel all the time? Aquarius, who do you feel you are intellectually? You feel you're a mad scientist genius? Be honest. Again, this is how you feel you are intellectually, not what you have actual proof for. And based on who you feel you are intellectually, how does that change your philosophy about whether you believe in yourself or not? If you feel you are this certain intellectual level, then how about believing in yourself along those same accord? And then finally, Pisces. Pisces, who do you feel you really are when it comes to value? How valuable do you really feel you are to others? I'm not talking about what you actually get paid. I'm talking about what you really feel your value is to others and humankind. And if you feel that value, how does that change your philosophy about where you draw lines and where you don't draw lines? How does that change your philosophy about trusting yourself if you feel yourself at a certain value? So I think it's a very pensive and soul philosophical sort of weekend, my friend, where you're going to be asking yourself these questions and asking how you feel you are and how this might change your philosophy. And I think this is a spiritual, gentle nudge to you starting to think differently about yourself, which is really what this whole Sun and Gemini transit is about, us thinking differently. But we have to understand these other parts of ourselves to understand how to think. All right, my friend, that's all I have for now. But if you'd like to hear a little bit more from me, I'm going to be the guest on an internet talk radio show today called Serving Consciously with Elizabeth Bishop. We'll be streaming live today at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. The URL is ctrnetwork.com. And we'll also be posting links to listening to the show in our own personal Facebook club at namastetoday.club. So don't miss it. I'm looking forward to being Elizabeth's guest. I'm very honored that she's invited me. And she, too, is a member in our Namaste Today club. So be sure to say hello to her if you happen to like the interview. I'm grateful to be a part of it. All right, my friends, I am so grateful to be of soul service to you. Speaking of gratitude, have a great weekend of soul philosophy, and I'll be back on Monday with more. Until then, remember I love you, and live, love, be.